Word for you today. It's Tuesday, August the 26th. Lesson is get up and try again. Proverbs chapter 24, verse 15 and 16 say, "Do not lie in wait like an outlaw against a righteous man's house. Do not raid his dwelling place. For though a righteous man falls 7 times, he rises again. But the wicked are brought down by calamity." The Bible's full of stories of people who trusted in God, yet they encountered difficulties and trials brought on by other people. You remember some of them. Joseph. Joseph was sold into slavery by his brothers. Then he was imprisoned by a jealous mistress. His boss, who he was serving, the man's wife, wanted David to have an affair with her, and he wouldn't do that. So she got angry and had him imprisoned. And then imprisoned, he was forgotten by some people that he helped. And it seemed like nothing was going right for David. But God eventually raised him up to second in command of all Egypt. Then Job seemed to be living a God-fearing life, often praying for his children. Then the day came when Satan incited God against him, and Satan caused all his children to be killed, all his livestock to be killed, his sores all over his body. Seemed like Job was just suffering, not because of anything he did, but he was just suffering. But then God raised him up. How about Hannah? Hannah was childless. She was married. Her husband loved her. He had another wife who he said he didn't love as much, but she was having children and Hannah was not. And Hannah so badly wanted to have a child. And the other wife was constantly persecuting Hannah because she was childless. Hannah, with bitter tears, went to God. And God raised her up, allowed her to have a child. Daniel lived a life pleasing to God. But he was taken from his home in Jerusalem and raised in Babylon to serve the king there. He developed enemies that were very jealous of him in Babylon. They looked for ways and even tricked the king into making a bogus law, yet the king could not repeal. And when Daniel was found guilty, he was actually doing something good, but when he was found guilty of breaking that law, the penalty was to be thrown into the lion's den. And so he was. But God raised him up. What are you undergoing? What difficulties are you having? And maybe they're not your doing. Maybe it's decisions you've made, but maybe it's something that other people have caused. Does God care enough about me? Why am I going through this? The only time we really fail is when we don't get up. It says, get up and try again. It says, the righteous man falls down 7 times. He's going to get up. He's going to prevail. But the wicked are brought down by calamity. The wicked can go down once and not get up, and he's defeated. But the righteous man doesn't stay down. He keeps getting up. So keep getting up. Keep trying. Keep trying. There was a man who became very, very sick. He was spitting up blood, and he was getting weaker, and he didn't like to eat. Food didn't taste good, and he knew he was soon going to die. So he went away to a cabin in the woods and went out on the porch and listened to the birds sing, and just was cold. And one day while he was taking a nap on the porch, he had this dream, and he felt like God was telling him to go down this path, find this huge boulder, and push against it 4 to 6 hours a day. Well, it seemed so real to him that he felt like he needed to do that. So he got up from his nap. He went down that path, found that boulder, and he began pushing on it and pushing on it and pushing on it. And he would get sweaty, and he'd sit down and rest for it, and then he would do it again and again. And he did it day after day after day. And then one day he got to sitting on the porch and thinking, why am I doing that? How far have I moved that boulder? So he went and checked, and he hadn't moved the boulder one bit. He hadn't moved it at all. And he said, God, what kind of trick are you playing on me here? And God says, how do you feel? And he says, well, I feel better. How's your appetite? Well, food tastes good. Are you spitting up blood? No. You've gained weight? You're better? I didn't ask you to move the boulder. I just asked you to push against it because I knew what you needed to make yourself well. So even though it looked like to the man like he wasn't accomplishing anything, he was. That exercise was giving him the strength that he needed to go on. Get up and try again. You say, why should I even try? Why should I get up? There's a lot of people today that they're very discouraged. Maybe a family situation, maybe a health or financial situation. Why should I even try? Well, the reason you try is because God. God raised up Joseph when there seemed to be no hope. God raised up Job when he had nothing. God raised up Hannah, nothing she could do. God raised up Daniel when it looked like death was certain. And God can raise you up. But you know what? Each of these 4 people trusted God. They were obedient to him all the way to the end. It's what God asked for from us, is obedience. Our job is to be obedient. God's job is to raise us up. Have a good day.